Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Broadway shows that need revivals.
We're together here on Avenue Q. We live on Avenue Q. Our friends do too.
For this list, we'll be looking at the Broadway musicals that are long overdue for a second chance on the Great White Way. We'll be focusing solely on Broadway shows, not off-Broadway, and while we're super excited for the upcoming 2023 revival of Sweeney Todd, we will not be discussing remounts that are already in the works. Did your favorite musical make the list? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, Rock of Ages.
Turn it down, you see. Well, all I got to say to you is time and time again I say no. Oh, no. Oh, so if you ask me why, I like the way I play.
Hairspray, leather pants, and plenty of epic guitar solos were all the ingredients that made Rock of Ages a smashing success on Broadway. The 2005 jukebox musical about a busboy with rock star aspirations set against the backdrop of 1980s Los Angeles ran for over 2,300 performances. Featuring an awesome cast including American Idol's Constantine Maroulis and Amy Spanger, it wowed audiences with covers of songs like Europe's The Final Countdown and Whitesnake's Here I Go Again. It's been a good long while since the Totally Rad show closed its doors.
Even as I wander, I'm keeping you in sight. You're a candle in the window on a cold, dark winter's night.
Although there's been a film adaptation and many tours, fans won't stop believing that the time for an Ages revival is now.
The musical, it never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting.
Number 9, The Secret Garden.
And every day to my garden is one who might he be.
Adapted from the beloved Frances Hodgson Burnett story, The Secret Garden has grown to become a treasured musical in the hearts of musical theater fans. Opening at the St. James Theater in 1991, the musical was helmed by the book and music writing team of Marcia Norman and Lucy Simon. Performers included legendary theater performer Mandy Patinkin and a young John Cameron Mitchell. The Secret Garden's hauntingly beautiful story and score packed an emotional punch that won the production a handful of Tonys, including Best Book and Best Performance by a Featured Actress in a Musical for Daisy Egan.
How can I now forget that once I tried to be in love, alive and whole in Lily's eyes?
Sadly, Garden's gates closed after only 709 performances, and we think it's time to revisit Misselthwaite Manor.
How can I say not to dream about me? How could I ever know?
Number 8, Rent.
525,600 minutes. 525,000 moments of dear.
It was the show that not only rocked Broadway, but revolutionized it. The late Jonathan Larson's Rent was a game-changer when it premiered on Broadway in 1996. Racking up a slew of Tony Awards and a Pulitzer, the musical launched the careers of stars Idina Menzel, Taye Diggs, Jesse L. Martin, and Anthony Rapp.
We're not gonna pay last year's rent, this year's rent, next year's rent, rent.
It closed in 2008 after running for an astonishing 12 years at New York's Nederlander Theater and launched tours, international productions, a film, and, above all else, a legacy. Only a few years after Rent closed, an off-Broadway production opened at New World Stages. However, we're sure there's always a home for it on the Great White Way, and here's hoping it returns soon.
Viva la vie, Bohème!
Number 7, Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet of 1812.
And the world was inside of me. And I catch my breath, and I laugh and blush, and I hear guitars.
Premiering at Ars Nova in 2012, Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet of 1812 was one of Off-Broadway's most talked-about shows. Based on a chapter of Leo Tolstoy's 19th century epic novel War and Peace, the musical was a roaring, wild, and immersive experience. It transferred to Broadway in 2016, led by Josh Groban. Thanks to both critical and public acclaim, it racked up a bunch of Tony nods and a couple of wins.
They say we are asleep until we fall in love. And I'm so ready.
However, it wasn't enough to keep the party going, and Comet closed after 336 shows. Ever since then, fans have anxiously been awaiting the day when a revival is announced. While that might be a long wait, we have no doubts that it'll be more than worth it to see the show light up the stage again. Number 6. Aida.
Staying in or hitting townwards from the top and working downward, I ensure that every stitch is stitched in time.
Before Aida was a soaring success on Broadway, it was pitched as an animated film for Disney. Based on the Antonio Ghislanzoni and Giuseppe Verdi opera, it took the shape of a musical with the studio producing under their theatrical department. Now, this wasn't Disney's first Broadway rodeo. They had produced stage adaptations like Beauty and the Beast, but Aida wasn't based on one of their properties. The story is about two lovers who are conflicted over a war in Egypt. Tim Rice and Elton John provided the music, and the show opened in 2000. It hasn't received a revival, and over 20 years later, it seems long overdue. Much like Aida and Radamez's Love, theatergoers' desire to see it return is everlasting.
We all lead such elaborate lives.
Number 5. Newsies.
That's our cue, boys. It's time to go slumming. Hey, Manhattan, the cavalry's coming. Have no fear, you know we got your back for payback. Brooklyn's here, we'll get your payback for some payback.
Grab your papers and your flat cap, because it's time to seize the day. Premiering in 2011, Newsies sprinted right to New York City in 2012 and was another smash hit for Disney on Broadway. Based on the studio's live-action 1992 film of the same name, the musical is inspired by the newsboy strike of 1899.
Instead of hawking headlines, we'll be making them today. Hey!
And our ranks will grow.
And we'll kick their rear.
Yeah! And the world will know that we made it.
The show turned its lead, Jeremy Jordan, into a future musical theater legend, and dropped Jaws with its spectacular choreography.
Something to believe in, or even a day. One day may be forever, but that's okay, that's okay.
Even after closing in 2014, the musical has remained a fan favorite. Thanks to its popularity and wholesome family content, it's just begging for a revival.
Look at that pig with my face beaming. Tomorrow they may wrap fishes in it, but I was a star for 1 whole minute.
Number 4. City of Angels.
My money's on you, Mr. Stone. You look like the kind of man who can get the job done.
It's been well over 30 years since City of Angels played Broadway, and quite frankly, that's musical theater crime of the highest offense.
I go for the riff-raff who's treating me so. When I can play the second fiddle, I'm a virtuoso.
The musical is one part comedy and one part crime drama. Centered in 1940s Hollywood, The story bounces back and forth between a film noir-style detective and the writer adapting the story for the silver screen.
You're nothing without me. I know one who'd go undefined. You wouldn't exist. You'd never be missed.
It won Best Musical at the 1990 Tony Awards and was a success at the box office. Although the show received a remount in London in 2014, New York has been radio silent. With an outrageously humorous script and a fun, jazzy score, it's a mystery why Broadway hasn't called Angels back to the stage.
The script calls for fusing and using our smarts, and greatness can come of the sum of our parts. From now on, I'm with you.
Number 3. Jekyll and Hyde.
A darker dream that has no ending. That's so unreal. You believe that it's true.
Robert Louis Stevenson's literary horror, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, has gone down as one of the most disturbing and chilling novels in the Gothic genre. In 1990, the story was transformed into a musical by Frank Wildhorn and Leslie Bricusse.
This one is the nightmare that goes on. Hyde is here to stay no matter what you may pretend.
It opened at the Gerald Schoenfeld Theater years later and even featured stars like Sebastian Bach and David Hasselhoff during its 3-year run. In 2013, Hyde earned a revival, but the show closed quickly after 29 performances. As the old saying goes, third time's a charm, and perhaps another revival of Hyde is worth a try.
I'll gather up my past and make some sense at last. This is the moment when all I've done.
Number 2. Legally Blonde.
I've gone on to better things, better jobs or figuring. I don't have the time to cry. I'm too busy loving my name on that list. Kind of a cool, ironic twist.
In 2007, Legally Blonde left the hallowed halls of Harvard for the bright lights of Broadway with a musical adaptation. Starring Laura Bell Bundy as the iconic Elle Woods, the production was filmed for an MTV broadcast and even spun off a reality show.
One of you still has the chance to be the next Elle Woods on Broadway.
When they're 50, it's not really within reach. When it's 15, you can taste it.
Even after it closed a year later, its popularity remained intact with tours, international productions, and many regional mounts. With its mass appeal, a superb score, and important message, Legally Blonde is patiently waiting in the wings for its revival. Forget about painting the town red. Blonde is ready to turn Broadway back to pink. Case closed.
Still in your hour of need, let it be understood. No man can supersede our sacred bond of sisterhood. Oh my God, you guys.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. The Scarlet Pimpernel. Action-packed show based on Baroness Orcsay's story that deserves the liberty of a revival.
Never hold back your step for a moment. Never doubt that your courage will grow. Hold your head even higher and into the fire we go.
The Who's Tommy. Who do we want back on Broadway? When do we want it? Now!
You feel me coming. A new vibration. From afar you'll see me.
The producers. The former king of Broadway, this musical comedy is ready to bring back the laughs.
Hi, producer. Yes, producer. I mean you, sir, go berserk. We can do it. We can do it. And I know it's gonna work.
Seussical. Dr. Seuss's most memorable characters are ready for their second close-up.
For you! There's nothing that I wouldn't, and I couldn't, and I haven't gone through.
Oliver. Please, sir, we want Oliver on Broadway, and we're hoping it'll be back soon.
Very well, but be back soon. Who can tell where danger's lurking? Do not forget this tune. Be back soon.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Dreamgirls. And we are telling you, if there is one show that Broadway needs to revive ASAP, it's Dreamgirls. Bearing similarities to the real-life story of the Supremes, the musical is about the trials and tribulations of an R&B girl group in the 60s and 70s. The show made an absolute star into Jennifer Holliday, who gave us one of musical theater's most iconic performances of all time. There have been international productions, tours, and of course the 2006 film adaptation. But why not Broadway again? While we may not know the answer, theatergoers are gonna love it no matter how long it takes.
You've got one night only, that's all you have to spare.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.